By the end of this video, you will know why Jaylen Wright of the Miami Dolphins is one of the best buys in Dynasty Fantasy Football. We're going to take a look at the Dolphins' backfields, a couple of advanced stats, the split between the running backs, and just where Jaylen Wright might project to be this next season, and if there's an injury, this season. Please remember to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. So Jaylen Wright is 5'11", 210 pounds. He was drafted in the 4th round this season. He has a 29.3 BMI. Now, remember his height, weight, and BMI for later. He's 21 years old, out of Tennessee, and this guy is an athlete. When we look at his metrics here, his 4.38 40-yard dash is in the 98th percentile among running backs, giving him a 114.1 speed score, which is in the 95th percentile, and a 131.6 burst score, which is also in the 95th percentile. This guy is absolutely electric. And when we look at where he's being drafted as the RB40, one pick above his 32-year-old running back mate, Raheem Mostert, and just 2 picks before him in Dynasty startups. In Dynasty rookie drafts, he's going off the board 24th overall at the 212. That is one of the best values imaginable in your rookie drafts. By the end of this video, you are going to agree with that assessment. So to give you better context as to who's going before and after him, players like Austin Eckler, Chase Brown, and Kendre Miller are going before him. Austin Eckler makes no sense. The guy's ancient in a timeshare with a running quarterback. That doesn't spell very much fantasy production for Eckler, in my opinion. Chase Brown's in a timeshare, and he's not going to receive the goal line work. That's going to be Zach Moss. Kendre Miller's a roster cut, potentially. And then after him is Raheem Mostert, his older running back mate, Marshawn Lloyd, who I also think is a good value, then Gus Edwards and Jerome Ford. Jaylen Wright is going too low in Dynasty startups. So when we look at the depth chart of the Miami Dolphins, they have Tua at quarterback. He lacks arm strength, but for what he lacks in arm strength, he makes up for in very, very solid accuracy, and the fact that he's really, really good when he gets in a rhythm. Then they have 3 insanely fast running backs in Mostert, A-Chain, and Wright. They have speed demons at wide receiver and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They even have OBJ and Jonnu Smith this season. This team is very, very, very fast. So, yes, it looks like there's 2 running backs ahead of Jaylen Wright, and there are. But I'm going to go into a couple of reasons why I would not be worried in any way, shape, or form as soon as this next season. So Jaylen Wright has received 4th round draft capital, which in my opinion, I like to view running back draft capital as 1 round ahead. So because generally 1st round running backs just aren't going to happen anymore. I mean, players like Breece Hall go in the 2nd round sometimes. So I view 2nd round capital really as like 1st a lot of the time, 3rd is 2nd, and 4th is 3rd. So just to begin with, drafting somebody in the 4th round in the running back position generally means that you intend to use them. But not only did they take him in the 4th round, they traded up to get him. They gave up a 2025 3rd round pick in order to get him this season. So Miami definitely has plans for Jaylen Wright in the future and potentially this season. So first of all, we're going to take a look at Devon A-Chain's 2023 season. He is the speed demon of all speed demons. He's incredibly talented. But look, first of all, to begin the season, he was hurt and didn't even play in the 1st game. Then in his 2nd game, he only played in 10% of the snaps. Then he had that crazy 50-point game. Then he had a 27-point game and a 21-point game, but he got hurt again. Then he missed 5 games in a row. They had their bye week. He came back, got hurt again, missed another game, and then came back and had 2 solid games and a couple of bum games. And then in the playoffs, he only had 6 points in that game, so it was definitely a mixed bag. But the one thing to note here, this guy is tiny. He was hurt repeatedly throughout the season and missed time multiple times, and that's as a rookie. So he only ended up playing in 11 games. and he didn't finish 2 of those games. So while I don't like to predict injuries, that is something to note because what were our concerns coming out? It's that he's really, really small. It wasn't an issue of is he talented? We all knew he was talented. It's just with that frame, this is the kind of results you can expect. Very, very high highs, but there's a lot of potential for injury. So Devon Achane is 5'9", 188. That gives him a 27.8 BMI. That is 10th percentile and well below the 30.0 threshold for generally being a bell cow back. So it's pretty safe to say they never ever intend to use him as a bell cow, and it's probably not a good idea to even give him half or definitely not more than half of the opportunities out of the backfield. When we look at his stats, for instance, his 43.3% snap share was good for 43rd in the NFL. His 40.6 opportunity share was 41st. His weighted opportunities of 119.9 was good for 43rd. And his dominator rating, which is his market share of the yards and touchdowns, of 25.7 was 14th. So what this tells us is he didn't receive even half of the total snaps. He received about 40% of the opportunities, and he generally wasn't receiving the most important opportunities. However, because he is so explosive, he still managed to have a very, very high dominator rating, which is just a testament to how good he is. But what this shows is he's probably never, ever going to be anything close to a featured back. So now we take a look at the other running back in the backfield from this past season, Raheem Mostert. So when we look at Raheem Mostert's season, he had some incredible highs, including a 45-point game. However, if you notice, he was hurt in week 4, and he was also hurt during week 16 and missed the final 2 games of the season. He did come back for the playoffs. So while he ended up being the RB5 because he's really talented and he was in a great spot, once again, just like with his other running back mate, Devon Achane, he also missed time due to injury. So what we've seen is, at least this past season, both running backs missed time due to injury. So what would that do if they had another running back like Jaylen Wright? That would give him an ample opportunity to establish himself in the backfield. So Raheem Mostert is 5'11", 205 pounds. That gives him a 28.6 BMI. That is in the 21st percentile among running backs. So once again, not 30.0, so he probably shouldn't even be a bell cow. And now you don't have to be literally 30.0. That's just a general benchmark. You could be a little bit less than that and be okay. It's, once again, it's just generally you want to be right around that BMI. But look at his age. He's 32 years old. It is a marvelous thing that he was able in his age 31 season to be the RB5. When we look at his snap share, though, his 57.3 snap share was good for 19th. That's more than Achane's. His 53.0 opportunity share was good for 30th. That's more than Achane's. And his 175.6 weighted opportunities was good for 28th. Once again, greater than Achane's. That means that he was receiving more important touches. Then when you look at his dominator rating of 29.3%, that was good for 8th. So once again, higher than Achane's. And now Achane did miss a couple more games, so that definitely could be a little bit of a factor there. But still, part of that is the role in which Raheem Mostert has. He's going to receive more touches, and his role, the running back that plays his role, is going to receive more touches than Achane is going to receive. So just to give you a side-by-side comparison, Raheem Mostert's snap share of 57.3 was greater than Devon Achane's 43.3%. His 53.0 opportunity share was more than Achane's 40.6. His 175.6 weighted opportunities was greater than Achane's 119.9. And his 29.3% dominator rating was more than Devon Achane's 25.7. So overall, his role is better in the backfield, despite the fact that I do think Achane is a better talent at the running back position. So remember, Raheem Mostert is 32 years old. When we look at his career finishes, he didn't play in more than 11 games until 2019, which was his 5th NFL season. Then he was hurt and only played 8 games. Then he was hurt again and only played in 1, before the past 2 seasons being able to play in 16 and 15. So generally throughout his career, he has not been reliable in terms of being able to stay healthy and contribute as a running back, despite the fact that he's flashed tremendous upside because he's a very talented player. So statistically, Raheem Mostert is an absolute anomaly. So he's 32 years old now, but he was 31 during this past season when he had that RB5 finish. So when we look at historically running back peak age, it ramps up from age 21 all the way to 24, then a slight decline at 25, another slight decline at 26, a pretty good decline at age 27 before going up at 28, before a significant dip at 29 plus. So historically, Raheem Mostert's season is an absolute anomaly. This is what I've wanted to say the entire video. Look at the two. Raheem Mostert is 5'11", 205 pounds. Jaylen Wright is 5'11", 210. Raheem Mostert has a 28.6 BMI, while Jaylen Wright has a 29.3, so while it's not ideal in that it's not 30.0 or greater, it's still closer to that. But here's the important thing. Jaylen Wright was drafted to be the Raheem Mostert replacement. And if you remember, Raheem Mostert was receiving the majority of the touches, the more important touches, and had a higher dominator rating. That is what we can expect from Jaylen Wright should Mostert go down this season, but especially this next season. Jaylen Wright is one of the best values in your Dynasty rookie drafts and in Dynasty fantasy football in general. Get this guy while you can, because he is going to be the young version of Raheem Mostert in this offense. Jaylen Wright is going to be a very good running back in a very good situation for a very long time. So I think that Jaylen Wright is one of the best values in Dynasty fantasy football. Remember that in Dynasty startups, he's being drafted as the RB40, one running back before Raheem Mostert and only 2 picks before. And in rookie drafts, he's being drafted at the 212, pick 24 overall. I think that is a crazy value. But what do you think? Have I convinced you? Do you disagree? Let me know why in the comment section below. Please remember to like and subscribe. It would mean the absolute world to me. Thank you and have a good day.